Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, had a good lunch. Yeah, welcome to the Polyketon world today, and we really appreciate the participate our Polyketon seminar. So we have a three section. One is that Hyosung Chemical Polyketon for 30 minutes, and our trustful number one European distributor KDF 30 minutes, and after that trustful the hot runner Polyketon technology by Gunter. So we have total 1.5 hour today, and hope you learn and be educated valuable time today. My name is MK Jung, who is team leader of Polyketon Global Sales in charge of America and European market, and I have been working for Polyketon business 14 years, and I joined Houston Group in 2009 and covering America and European market. So very nice to see you today. So as you see here, general introduction, Polyketon and Houston by myself, and new grades and sustainability for future by Mr. Uri Hwang, Polyketon Technical Service Team Leader, and Voice of Customers by KDF and Kucha today. And back to the first page, please. Previously. So we are operating the take a picture for the QR code, and then you make any questions. So we will gathering the questions, and maybe sometime later today, this seminar, we will do question and answers. So let me start for Polyketon by Hyosung Chemical. Who is Hyosung? We are global trustful big company. So we have globally 21 manufacturing facilities and total 66 branches and sales office and one R&D center in Korea. We do total sales 12 billion US dollars last year and operating profit 0.5 billion US dollars too. And we have a production site in North America 8 and European site 12 and Asia 75 and also South America, Middle East and Oceania section 2. So maybe who is Hyosung, who is Polyketon, but depends on time. We are very trustful and big company. Mainly we do first textile and recycled fiber. Maybe you heard about the Clara spandex. So we have been manufacturing, operating, and sales the world market share number one company. Have a 10 years long-term agreement with Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour, very trustful supply to the spandex fibers. And recently we do best recycled PET fiber, which is called Legend. So we are also preparing for the future. And plus, these days, the AI and data center is very getting important. And we do gas insulated switchgear and high voltage transformer, making the voltage change and provide the electricity supply system, engineering, procurement, construction. We do a lot of stuff. And surely Polyketon is involved here, Hyosung Chemical, and Polyketon is new rice materials. And ATM machines, we make it. So the Chase Bank and Bank of America, which is the very big and familiar bank in USA, we make and supply the ATM machines. And our market share is also number one in US. What is Polyketon? So actually Polyketon is new material, and we have a big thought. How could we promote our Polyketon? Then we are easier to compare and telling you which place from to Polyketon. Then we are telling two stories. One is that engineering commodity resin, which is B5 material, and super engineered plastic material. So number one is that if the material have a problem, issues, or big troubles, then we are a solution provider. And the super engineering plastic sometimes too expensive with over engineering factors. And we give customers as a reasonable price wise, as a moderable performance, then customer uh, optimize the engineering factors and reduce the cost. So first is that polyamide, lower water absorption, price or stability, stacks or shortage, and POM, formaldehyde-free, lower density, PBT, better hydrolysis, higher impact strength, and polycarbonate, better chemical resistance, MPPO, higher HDT, and competitive price. That means white polycketone. And super engineering plastic area, PPS, polyphenol sulfide, higher impact strength, PPA, cost, and dimension stability, and chemical resistance, especially in oil and gas market. And PPSU, easier processing for polycetone, EVOH, hydrocarbon, or barrier performance, PA612, size, cost, performance, and HOMO-POM, low acid chemical resistance and impact, and compression speed growth performance, and PVDF, PFAS-free, PTFE, of course, surely PFAS-free, and sintering needed. So we provide polycetone for the high performance and human health and environmental safety and sustainable alternatives and globally across key industries. What was our history and the future? Polycetone is a 50,000 metric ton capacity located in Ulsan, Korea. And then we have a very smart production system. We use the gravity. Here is the three monomer input here. And to use gravity, go down to the next processing. There is a full batch tanks with the temperature, time, pressure, and then we get the wet powder to go through the drying and making the pelletizing for the pelletizing extrusion via hoppers with the additives together. So our production is 50,000 metric ton, but since we launched our polycetone business in 2015, and so far we have been more than 10 years. So first time we got like a 20,000 pounds global performance, but this year we are expecting 24,000 metric ton. So you can see how we grow up. So polycetone, nobody can expect how growth rate is like this dramatically going up. And that's why we have a bright future. And of course, during the COVID situation, globally there was oversupply and stock problem, and also our numbers a little bit down. But after that, 2024, we got exceeded numbers. And depends on the narrow site, there is a fluctuation, but as a whole view, we grow a lot of and China, we have a sales 50%, and Europe, America 25%, 30%, and South America 30%, and rest of the world 25%. So we look the business future is Europe and America, and China. We have always fear. Fear means they always cost down dramatically. They don't try to understand the value of the polycetone, just change and ask question and make it, and there is another change. So we believe the European market, high technology and high material advance, and deeply understand the market and discussion together very logically. That's why we are here today. So challenges is coming and already started, and the regulation has been enhanced. So PFAS and CO2 and sustainability, then we can talk about the polyketone today. Polyketone polymerization process. Monomer is that carbon monoxide, ethylene, and propylene. And those monomer is coming here, and we use catalyst as a palladium and solvent as a methanol, time, pressure together, and then we make the polyketone powder. Actually, that is the wet powder. That's why we go through the drying section and to go to the pelletizing extruder section. So what polyketone? How? So first, polyketone density is 1.24, PBT 1.31, POM 1.41, nylon is 1.17. So its position is here. Tensile strength, polyketone is around 58 to 60 megapascal. So something like soft than POM. And elongation and yield, polyketone is more than 200%, very high. And hardness looks like soft versus heat deflection temperature is very similar with nylon 6, and toughness similar with the polycarbonate. Then polyketone is tough and high impact and competitive with engineering resin so much. And bottom table here, we can see 2 points. One is that impact strength, and the another one is that changing properties nylon. So polyketone as unfilled base resin, 15 kilojoule per meter square unfilled base resin versus nylon 4 to 5, PBT 5, POM 6. So 3 times higher as unfilled base resin. And nylon, very good material, but it observes water and change a lot. So as a dry 17, 19, but after wet 360, 370, but polyketone 200%, always stable. And flexural modulus, unfilled base resin around 1250 megapascal. Nylon start 2600 in dry, but down in wet 600. Very change. That's why we are telling polyketone is here, and you have a problem, then we can give you the solution. So as a summary, nylon high moisture absorption needs conditioning for the impact strength. QM formaldehyde emission plus low acid chemical resistance is not so good. And PBT, a limited hydrolysis resistance and thinner processing, tricky. As a specific data comparison, polyketone versus nylon 6, unfilled and glass fiber 30%, both are showing polyketone is stable than nylon, less water absorption, and after water exposure, mechanical property change is much stable than nylon. Also, glycol-ethylene chemical resistance for the automotive area and 1,000 hour time, which is 1.5 months. Polyketone glass fiber 30% black and nylon 6 glass fiber 30%. We checked exposure for the glycol-ethylene plus water for the 50-50 at 135 C. Then orange color of nylon 6 glass fiber down a lot versus we can see here polyketone glass fiber 30% black shows stable. That's why we have another solution provider in automotive chemical resistance area. POM. POM is good material and good enough, but especially in Europe and globally, the toxicity and emission regulation has been enhanced. And this one is for the European regulation. Then the emission requirement formaldehyde is this minimum numbers at least. And polyketone shows here no detection, not just only for the formaldehyde, the benzene toluene, xylene, styrene, and acrylene, polyketone, every area, no detection. So VOCs, we can consider to enter the market. Actually, the European, the automotive in the interior parts will be already enhanced for the toxicity issue. Then polyketone can be a great substitute material. Another one, the low acid chemical resistance for polyketone. So bowl cleaner in restroom and for the water 6 liters, 70 C Celsius temperature, that means concentrate 1.63%. And after 70 C for 3 weeks, polyketone mechanical property is almost 100% for the retention rate. But you can see this shape here for the POM, 19% only. So if customer is telling, I like always white color, okay, POM, that's it. But if the customer is asking, what about function, technical performance, stability, then here is polyketone. Polyketone and DBT for the hydrolysis resistant comparison data. So high temperature, high moisture environment. So 85 C, 85 relative humidity, 30 days, and 100 C, 100% relative humidity for the 42 days. The blue color of polyketone always shows stable than PBT, which is gray and orange color. So again, the retention rate for the long time, polyketone shows always stable than PBT. Not just only for the PBT, nylon 6 POM, but also polyketone. Already, we are entering the super engineering market. You see here the PPS, polyketone for the oil and gas, downward pipeliner, and the sucker rod. And nylon 6, 12, and 12 for polyketone to enter the pipe fitting and 3D printing, industrial cable tie. And PPA polyketone, we entered electric vehicle thermostat housing, fuel line connector, and some valves. As well as the EVOH polyketone for the film and the sheet area. There is also great opportunity. And PVDF polyketone. Polyketone is PFAS free, very important. And chemical and oil resistance, similar level. And lastly, the homo-POM polyketone, formaldehyde emission polyketone, no detection, and low acid chemical resistance polyketone is much better. And noise, vibration, harshness, its polyketone shows much stable and better. So as a summary, polyketone is telling you 9 points for the performance, chemical resistance, barrier property, impact, water resistance, heat resistance, HDT, and the touch and grit for the frame, and resilience, spring back toughness, abrasion resistance, safety, non-toxic, and MVH performance. Last year, our mix sales performance by items. Number one was automotive parts for the connector, electric vehicle components, and some the another cooling module system. Number two for the home appliance gears and housing, mostly replaced from the nylon number 6 glass fiber, water absorption and warpage happen, and during operating the vacuum cleaner in home making sounds because of the hot steam is the typical lifestyle these days, and nylon absorb water making noise a lot. Food conveyor belts, that is excellent for polyketone, replacing from homopon and copon both. And toy parts, cosmetic packaging and pump, water purifier feeding, industrial roller caster fuel, and lastly oil and gas pumping components and pipes. I believe the next application will be presenting by our trustful partners, and let me finish my presentation. And I will also introduce Mr. Woody Hwang for the polyketone section 2.
Thank you. And my name is Woody Hwang, and I'm a technical service leader. And MK has spent a lot of time, so can I skip my session? I will shortly update our new material development about polyketone. This is the base resin portfolio of our polyketone. Polyketone can be categorized based on the melt flow index and melt temperature. Our main grade is the melt temperature is around 220. And we have 5 grades from low viscosity M130 to high viscosity M730. We also have a special product like M640, which has a higher melt temperature, and M410 and M710 is the lower melt temperature. By adjusting the propylene content. This is the compounds grade we have right now, and we have glass filled material, flame retardant material, and lubricant material, and flexible tube application. In case of glass fiber reinforced material, the polyketone can be reinforced with up to 50% of glass fiber. And we also have a new EU directive grade for water application. And we also have improved processing grade M33, AG6A, and B2. Also, recently we've got a lot of requests from the flame retardant grade for application like electric vehicle. So we have a portfolio of flame retardant grade across various thickness. And we also have a wear resistance grade. And naturally polyketone has a good wear resistance. So by adding silicone or TPU or mill jet, we can improve further of our wear resistance. Also, we have a flexible tube application with a very flexible, the flexure modulus is around 400 to 600 megawatts. From this page, I'd like to shortly update our new material development. I will go through one by one. First one is the enhanced hygiene material with the sanitized additive. Some of our customers wanted to protect the antimicrobial performance. So we have added some silver-based antimicrobial additive, which was certified by the European BPR. And we can accomplish the performance of until 99.999%. We keep the performance of the antimicrobial performance. It can be used for the conveyor belt application and the chopping board application or some pipe and fitting application. Second one is we are focusing on the homopalm replacements specifically. Homopalm is a very good wear resistance and a good mechanical strength. But there's a weakness of the formaldehyde issue. So we are developing the new grade M100P to compete with the homopalm application. if you look at the comparison of the performance, you can eliminate the concern of the formaldehyde issue, and then you can reduce the noise by about 5 or 6 decibel. And also you can reduce the cycle time about 35%. And the most important thing is that the polyketal shows better creep resistance compared to the POM material at 9 degrees C. That graph shows you the condition is 9 degrees C, 90 degrees C, and 25 megapascal low. And another thing is that we are focusing on the flame retardant grade. This new grade is using the inorganic flame retardant. The main focus is to reduce the smoke density and low toxicity, which is usually for the railway interior parts or yeah. So if you look at the smoke density and toxicity, it can meet the regulation of the European railway regulation. And last thing is that we are focusing on the low global warming potential. Current level is around 3.1. It means that if the 3.1 kg of CO2 is emitted when we make a 1 kg of our polyketone. In case of P6 and P6, 6.4 and 6.7 double. So it is a very good advantage when you use the polyketone to reduce the global carbon footprint. Another thing is that the polyketone has a higher thermal diffusibility coefficient. So as I talked to you before, you can reduce the total cycle time. And this is the example of the real application. We reduce the cycle time by reducing the cooling time. The example is the POM, PBT, and polyamide replacement from 29% to over 55%. And also we can reduce more of GWP number because we are using the bioethylene. Used cooking oil basis bioethylene. The 45 to 46% is comprised of the ethylene in polyketone. So we can reduce the GWP by 0.3. So the result will be 2.8. Also, if we increase the production efficiency by 75% of our production capacity, then we can reduce the number 2.6. And last thing we should do is that we are also exploring the CO from CO2 methane dry reforming process. Will be helpful to further decrease our GWP value. If we use the bioethylene, the mechanical performance is all the same, and you can also utilize all of the certification we have. Certification means we have lots of certification like the food certification and drinking water certification and UL and medical certification. You can use all of them. And this is the material specification list by automotive OEMs, and we have 9 grades for Hyundai and Kia Motors, and 1 for GM and 1 for BYD connector applications. Also, we have weakness. So we have 3 weakness like the black specks and UV degradation and the discoloration. To improve this black spec, we should keep the melt temperature 20 degrees C above our melt temperature of our polyketone. And also, definitely, the residence time is not that long, it will be better. And we have to purge nitrogen when you do the injection molding and extrusion molding, then it will be very helpful to reduce the black spec issue. To improve the UV degradation, we normally use the UV stabilizer, UV 1164, or carbon black, or TiO2. In case of discoloration, we normally recommend the dark color like black, brown, green. But recently we are focusing on the another color. So we are now testing with the AF color in Germany and some master batch company in Korea. So we are now doing the test for 85 degrees C and 85 relative humidity because our resin is discolored when the high heat and the high humidity condition. So we will do the test and then find a new color to fit our polyketone. Okay, that's all my presentation. And if you have any questions, then please let us know.
Thank you very much, Mr. Li Huang again. So before we go to the next page, maybe if you have any questions or comments, just let us know right now, please. Yes, okay.